A big part of being a firearms enthusiast includes spending too much time and too much money learning about new stuff. A large part of what I really enjoy about the hobby is getting my hands on different platform types and observing how they function mechanically and gaining an appreciation for their historical significance and the context of the time and the situation they were produced and employed in. Several years ago, I went through one such phase with the SKS, a Russian semi-automatic carbine chambered in 7.62 by 3.9, designed by Sergei Simonov in 1943. It had a relatively short service life in Russia, as it was rendered obsolete by the AK-47 in the 1950s, but went on to be produced and used by a long list of communist countries, including China and Yugoslavia. It eventually became the 9th most produced semi-auto rifle in the world. What initially drew me to the SKS was the fact that I live in a band state. Its lack of a pistol grip and detachable magazine gets a pass from my local overlords, and its wood stock gives it the vibe of Grandpappy's old hunting rifle to the untrained eye. It seemed like it would be a good choice for a general-purpose carbine for the collection, and one that fired a common, inexpensive intermediate cartridge. So as things go, I bought a Chinese SKS, and then I bought another, and then I bought 2 more. Why Chinese? Because that's what seemed to be available at the time. The Russian models were starting to go up in price at that point, and I preferred the chrome-lined barrels to the non-chrome barrels of the Yugoslavian SKS. I owned them for several years and shot them a lot. Let's go over some of the basics. The SKS is a gas-operated rifle with a gas piston operating rod and a spring-loaded bolt carrier at the heart of the system. It's a very simple, utilitarian design, as many communist design goods are. It is anything but refined and precise, but it works pretty dang well. It's known for its reliability, durability, and high tolerance for abuse. And while I confess I did not mag dump cases of ammo through it or run it through some high-speed carbine course, you can see why it would earn that reputation just by looking at the way it's built. It would just be difficult to break. There aren't a lot of moving parts, and the tolerances are fairly loose. It is 40 inches long with a 20-inch barrel and weighs around 8.5 pounds. It has a 10-round box magazine that can be loaded with single rounds by hand or with a stripper clip, and it can be unloaded by unlatching the bottom of the magazine. The safety lever is right next to the rear of the trigger guard. Flip up for safe and down for fire. The sights are a simple hooded post front sight that can be raised and lowered for elevation adjustments, and a notch rear sight that is graduated from 100 to 1,000 meters. The stock has a trap door designed for the storage of a cleaning kit, and the rifle can be field stripped and reassembled without any tools. And of course, one of the defining features of the SKS is the folding bayonet, which tends to be a spike for commercial models and a blade for military variants. Of the 4 SKSs I had, 2 were standard fare commercial Norinco models, one was an interesting early Type 56 with Russian markings on it, and the 4th was a Bubba disaster with a ramline stock that I had at first intended to rescue, but ended up not getting around to it and enjoying it as it was quite a bit. I even put a Surefire G2X on a Magpul scout mount on it to have some white light capability, and one of the stripper clip pouches from Strike Hard Gear that I would totally recommend to any SKS owner as a great way of being able to easily carry a few extra stripper clips around. For the duration of my SKS journey, the rifle was boringly reliable. They all ate a variety of steel case 7.62 by 3.9, including various Tula offerings, a few cases of Golden Tiger, Wolf Military Classic, and on. Basically whatever I could scrounge up for cheap. You don't really need to worry about maintenance with the SKS, although it's important to remember that keeping the firing pin and channel relatively clean is key, as the SKS does not have a spring-loaded firing pin, and the chance of cooking off a round when you release the bolt does exist and has killed people. Also, if you're shooting a bunch of corrosive ammo, that's going to give you a different set of cleaning considerations. Accuracy-wise, it's not a tack driver. I don't shoot this type of open sight very well. My eyesight isn't great, so it's tough to really give you the down low on its accuracy. I had toyed around with the idea of getting the Tech Sight's SKS rear sight to give me a peep sight option, which I do shoot a lot better. But since these were all kind of fun guns for me, plus the fact that I don't live in terrain that I'd realistically require extremely precise shots at long distances, I never did it. Though I would say if you wanted to get all you could out of an SKS, that would probably be a good buy. Ergonomically, it is what it is. I don't think the Soviets put a lot of stock into making a rifle comfortable or ergonomic. The length of pull is pretty short, which for me at 5'8" actually works just fine, but it's a typical complaint for larger statured people. I'm never a fan of having the safety right near the trigger guard like this, but I do prefer this style of safety to the one on the M1 Garand. 7.62x39 is a pretty fun round that many people say is obsolete. I don't think I'm one of those people. I can see that for some situations and in some parts of the country, a heavier bullet makes more sense than a 55 grain 5.56 round. I don't really like to play caliber war games, but I think as long as a caliber can be commonly sourced and has a track record of doing its job effectively, it's not obsolete per se. It just depends on your intended use. I think overall, its reliability and durability are huge advantages, and yeah, you could do a lot worse in terms of a general purpose rifle, but I don't think I'd make it your primary unless you were severely restricted in your area. It's definitely a fun rifle and a functional piece of communist manufacturing to study and tinker with. I think there was a time where the SKS price and rugged construction made it really appealing as a prepper rifle, but that ship has sailed, and with the prevalence of reliable ARs for basically the same price as what you can find these for, I would go that route all day. Well, that's all I've got for now, folks. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and stay free.